Hi, everybody. Welcome to an edition of Yo on the Go Leadership Moments, where we look to upgrade all the vehicles in our lives. Today, I have a very, very special guest. Her name is Barbara Porter. She's CTO of fragrance.com and a featured speaker in the 2021 IEEE Rising Stars Conference. Now, Barbara, I'm really interested in hearing about your experiences working as CTO of fragrance.com. I must admit that I had an interest in colognes in the last few years, and I said, okay, I'm going to try to find a cologne. I've never done this before. And I was just smashed by the myriad of brands out there and all of the different nuances of fragrances. I've learned about the high and the middle and the low notes and how it changes throughout the day. And I'm just curious, as a CTO, tasked with a very large array of products. How do you execute that? How do you make that addressable to the consumer and to their specialties and needs?
Sure. We don't manufacture. We are purely a reseller, but we do have over 20,000 SKUs. So it is a lot for a consumer to sort through if they're not sure what they're looking for. So we do try to make sure that we have good descriptions that indicate, as you mentioned, the notes. Usually people will know if there's a certain scent they like. Do they like an orange? Do they like sandalwood? And then if they search on those terms, we can help them find scents that are similar or have those notes, and that can help narrow down their selection.
Wonderful. So I'm kind of curious in terms of that logistics background, right? What does it take for a CTO as a CTO to be able to work all of these different technical issues and the economics of 20,000 SKUs. I mean, I was just surprised, even with one cologne that I liked, I had 6 or 7 different options of how to actually utilize that. What does it take as a CTO, and what do you have to consider in order to balance all of these things to make it successful?
Sure. Listen, I'm just part of a great team. That's for sure. So we have our procurement department, our buying department that goes out and sources all these great products to make sure that we have them in stock for our customers. We have a great marketing department that really, they are the ones who drive the look and feel of the website and the customer experience. So they're making sure everything is optimized so people can find what they're looking for or can find recommendations that will help them, find something that they will like. As from a technology perspective, we are there to serve the business. So if the marketing department comes up with an idea and they want to leverage technology, we're there to support them. I have an entire section of IT that just supports our buying department that builds applications that make it easier for them to integrate new suppliers, find new products, optimize pricing, things like that. I have another branch of IT that supports just our warehouse operations teams that make sure that we are able to pick, pack, and ship orders as quickly and efficiently as possible to get them to the customers as quickly as possible. So it's not me. I'm part of a large team. But we all work in concert, and technology is a business enabler, certainly in my company, and I think it really should be in all companies. We're not necessarily making the decisions on what the company should do, but when the company decides what they want to do, we're there to help make it happen.
Wonderful. So it's really a full spectrum enterprise. You're not just dealing with the front-facing customer, you're dealing with internal customers, you're working to create applications and technologies that will help enable and make the entire operation more efficient from soup to nuts, so to speak. Well, that's really, really interesting. I think that's a really huge endeavor for a CTO to take command of. And you mentioned about decision-making processes. I'm curious, was there a time in your current position or in your past where you've had to handle a very difficult decision and where you weren't certain about the future and what that would hold? How did you go about that, and how did you incorporate your team upon that decision?
Sure. That comes with the role. There are going to be times where you have to make hard decisions or execute projects that you know are going to be difficult. They're going to really push people to the limit. And my role in that is to try and support the team as we explore what needs to be done, explore the possible ways it can be done, explore what the challenges will be and how we can manage those challenges, and try to build as much consensus for the approach as possible. Um, there's one project I remember in particular, we were not able to get to a point of consensus, and we got most of the team to a point of consensus, but there were one or two holdouts who really just were not in favor of the plan forward. And it got to a certain point where, as much as I don't like to do it, sometimes it is necessary to just make a decision and say, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do it as a team. I need your commitment, even if you don't agree with it. This is the plan that has the most support. We see a path forward. We see light at the end of the tunnel. We're going to just have to move forward with it. So sometimes you have to do that. You have to make those difficult decisions. But I recognize if I don't have full buy-in and things do go wrong, that will reflect back on me, and that can build some negative feelings within the team as well. So I don't do it unless it's necessary for the good of the team and the good of the project and the good of the company to proceed in that manner. But sometimes full consensus is not possible. It's always my preferred choice, because I think you get the best solutions when everyone's voices are heard. But if you cannot achieve consensus, you still have to find a way to move forward regardless.
I hear that. I think that seems like a very important point in leadership when you do have a lack of consensus, because you do have to make that decision. I think that's one thing that I admire about people in leadership, is that they have to draw upon an internal strength to be able to go against maybe a coworker or a team member that you highly respect and really
Mm-hmm.
want to understand their concerns, but also disagree, and to also just work with them throughout that period, because you've made that decision, you've taken that responsibility. I think that's a really high calling and a really huge challenge for a person in leadership. So thank you
Definitely.
for sharing about that. I'm kind of curious along those lines. Let's say that the product went well and it's all decided. Okay, that person had a different opinion. Let's say it went badly and that opinion is now turns out to be true. I'm kind of curious. How do you encourage the development of the team past that? Because it's not just about getting that product, win or lose. It's about the relationship. It's about the mentorship. So I'm curious, how do you personally encourage that development of your team throughout these processes?
So I think it's very important that all team members feel that they have a voice and that they're being heard. They may not always have their preferred solution be the one that's chosen as the path forward, but I think it's important to hear those options, hear those preferences, and also try to understand why. There a lot of people have a natural proclivity of just doing what's comfortable or doing what they're familiar with. And a lot of times, especially in IT, we sometimes step into uncharted territory, and that can be scary. That's fraught with risk. Everyone sees the pitfalls, and sometimes you lose sight of the benefits of taking those risks. So part of my job is to try and explain to people that even if there are risks, there are benefits, and how we will try to mitigate the risks. I'll try and support them in coming up with ideas for how we can mitigate the risks or lessen the impacts of them, but also try and really convey to them the benefits of still moving forward and if and when we do get it right, what the benefits will be. I've had the benefit now. I've been at fragrance.com almost 11 years, and most of my core team has been with me most of that time. So I've watched some of these people on my team, come in as junior or mid-level, in their career, and they've moved up, which is very rewarding for me to see. But because of that, I've also seen how they've changed their approach to these kind of situations over time. So I think part of my role is to help them understand that they can change their perspective, and it's okay to take risks as long as you're doing the prep work to try and ensure things are as successful as possible. So that's how I try and support my team and help them grow, so that they're more comfortable, and they're building teams underneath them, to be able to take, projects of their own and work through them, and it's just great to see their development.
That's really encouraging to hear that you've created somewhat of a family, that you've seen them grow up and change their styles and change their ways of dealing with conflict and change and to progress. I think that's something that is very much needed in all our workplaces today. So I want to ask you one last question, and that's the question about uh, what's your passion in leadership? What's the most rewarding thing that you've seen in your years as CTO of Fragrance.com?
I can't say it's one specific thing. I think what makes me happiest is when my stakeholders, who are my management team and my peers on the management team, when they're happy with the solutions that my team is delivering for them, and when my team is also happy that they feel that they're contributing, they're doing interesting work, their work matters. When I've got people on both sides of me, so to speak, when I have people on both sides who are, happy with how my team is functioning, that's when I'm happy.
Awesome. Well, I think that's really rewarding to hear, that you have that joy in what you do day in and day out, and to create that environment. It's been a real pleasure. Thank you so much for your time and for sharing a little bit of insight in how you lead and how that leadership really makes an impact on a large organization. I just wanted to share that with the rest of the audience. Please do come and see Barbara at this IEEE Rising Stars Conference in 2021. She is a featured speaker there, and the links are below in the description, and hope to see you next time. Until next time, bye-bye.
Thank you, Terrence.
Thank you.